The Dallas Mavericks moved to 10-14 on the season after getting a thrilling 134-132 win over the Golden State Warriors. Kevin Gray of 105.3 The Fan. Appreciate everyone subscribing to my YouTube channel right here at Kevin Gray Sports. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, also at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe by hitting that subscribe button for my YouTube channel right here at Kevin Gray Sports. What a basketball game this was between the Golden State Warriors and Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. Two teams that put on an offensive display that we haven't seen in quite some time with respect to the amount of shot making and creativity and three-point making that both of these teams put on in this nationally televised game, where Stephen Curry went absolutely bananas on the Dallas Mavericks with 57 points in this game, going 11 of 19 from the three-point line, 19 of 31 overall, only to be upstaged by a career-high 42 points from Luka Doncic in this basketball game, where he was absolutely incredible, going 11 of 14 from the free throw line and another 11 assists to boot in this basketball game. The Dallas Mavericks started off on an 18-2 run. It was showing the kind of aggression and intensity that you would want to see from a team that got thoroughly embarrassed by 31 points and giving up a franchise record 147 points. But this was about the duel between Stephen Curry and Luka Doncic, two of the five best players in all of the NBA today, and the historic nature at which these two went at it all night long. I asked Luka Doncic after the game was over with what kind of fuse was lit under him by watching Stephen Curry go berserk on the offensive end for the Golden State Warriors, and what it did for him to spur on his performance. Here's what Luka Doncic had to say.
Luka, when you're watching Stephen Curry on the other end do what he does, what kind of fuse gets lit for you to kind of go tit for tat with him in a game like this, where obviously a win is important, but obviously going back and forth with him is obviously entertaining also?
I mean, what Steph does is something unbelievable. I just, like I said after the game, I just think every shot is going to go in when he shot it. So it's unbelievable the way he plays the game, and it's enjoyable to watch, even if you're on the opposite team.
So Luka Doncic recognizing the unique nature of Stephen Curry, one of the greatest shooters, if not the greatest shooter in NBA history, having a historic night, hitting 11 three-pointers, only 3 shy of the NBA record that Stephen Curry's teammate Klay Thompson did a couple of years ago. But this was about a team in the Dallas Mavericks who played with a desperation at a team that had got thoroughly embarrassed by 31 points the other night, making the kinds of winning plays, the energy plays, the effort plays, the diving on the loose balls. A signature moment in this game, Dwight Powell diving in out of bounds to save a ball from being lost out of bounds. Tim Hardaway diving on the floor for loose balls. You saw the kind of effort and intensity befitting of a team whose disposition that Rick Carlisle likes to talk about was much better in this basketball game. Now, don't get me wrong. The defense didn't get off the bus for either one of these basketball teams. That was for sure. But the offensive display that both of these teams put on was worthy of the nationally televised game and bill that was Steph versus Luka, and that's exactly what you got. Now, Draymond Green had another 15 assists in this basketball game, and we're not going to let the defense slide for the way that they played, giving up another 132 points after they gave up 147 points in the first game of the series. But you give the Mavericks credit for getting the stops when they need to, especially in the fourth quarter. And also, big shout-out to Maxi Kleber, who came in and hit the ceiling three at the end when Luka Doncic was able to hit him with seconds to go to put the game away, much like how Maxi Kleber did in Denver earlier this year when he hit a three to help get the game into overtime. And then eventually the Dallas Mavericks win that game on the road against Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. I asked Kristaps Porzingis after the game about his disposition and the team's effort and energy in this game, where Kristaps Porzingis himself had 18 points, didn't hit a three, but you could tell early in this basketball game was taking advantage of switches and defensive mismatches when he had the opportunities to in the low post. Here's what Kristaps Porzingis had to say after the game was over with.
You got your Saturday night fit ready to go for after post game. I see.
Yeah, ready to go home.
Obviously, a game that was going back and forth between Luka and Steph. For you, though, was the disposition of this team better given what happened the other night and how you guys came in and fought tonight to ensure you guys got this win?
Yeah, I mean, the way they shot the ball in the first game was, those kind of nights happen, and you're pretty much, you can't do much about it, especially when Steph gets going also tonight, but the rest of the team didn't shoot the ball as well. And it was a back-to-back for us. Obviously it does play a role. We go out there and we fight and we give our all, but it's just that the legs are not, the legs are not as fresh as after a day off like today. So we went in there, wanted to, be aggressive from the beginning. We did that. We came out ready, got that lead early on, and then just try to stay patient, stay consistent throughout the game with the ups and downs, with crazy shots that Steph made, and Luka had an amazing game. It was just, both of them were just going off tonight, and I'm glad we secured the win at the end.
So Kristaps Porzingis, understanding that this team needed to come out with effort, energy, and intensity, and did so with the kind of disposition that Rick Carlisle likes to talk about for his team to have, especially when you talk about the toughness that is needed to win games in this league. And while we have maligned the way that the defense is played for the Dallas Mavericks, when you're watching a guy in Steph Curry go off the way that he did, there's not much you can do about it. Obviously, Stephen Curry pulling up from over 34 feet, hitting a barrage of three-pointers from the logo of the Dallas Mavericks to off-balance threes on the left wing. Stephen Curry was just on another level. But the team effort to get stops when they needed to and to do so when it was most important is what allowed this Mavericks team to be able to get this win, and also getting contributions from several individuals in this basketball game. We talked about the contributions of Maxi Kleber hitting timely threes at the end of basketball games. You give credit to a guy also in Tim Hardaway Jr., who also made winning plays and effort plays, especially in the third quarter, early on in the fourth quarter, being able to get some of his offense going, especially late in the third quarter, where things were also in the balance late in that third quarter. So you give Tim Hardaway credit also in this basketball game, who himself had 11 points of his own. I asked Josh Richardson after the game, who himself had 17 points in this game and had the difficult assignment of obviously guarding the most unguardable shooter in the history of this league, about what this team was able to come out with in terms of its energy and focus, and what the mindset was going into this game, knowing that they needed to obviously get a win for their psyche, but more importantly, what that mindset did for them in this game against the Golden State Warriors. Here is what Josh Richardson had to say after the game.
Josh, talk about the fight and the desire tonight after coming off what happened the other night and coming into this game with the mindset. What was the mindset, besides just obviously getting a win, that you guys wanted to go into tonight's game?
We just thought they kind of out-toughed us last game. And we can't let that happen 2 games in a row. So hopefully we learn from it and bring that same aggression and intensity and togetherness that we had today into every game now.
So obviously Josh Richardson understanding that the mindset of this team needed to be tougher, because as he mentioned there, this team was out-toughed in that first game where they gave up 147 points. Kelly Oubre going off for 40 points in that game. In this particular game, Kelly Oubre came way back down to earth after going off for a career-high 40 points. In that first game, only had 14 in this game, much more to the average of what he normally has, which is about 12 points on the season. Andrew Wiggins, who has been a terrible offensive player this season, actually played well offensively, going 9 of 12 from the field and 3 of 5 from the three-point line with 22 points of his own. But this was the game that Luka Doncic reminded us about what happens when you challenge him on the biggest stage of the NBA, when the lights are brightest, when the stage is biggest, and you're watching one of the top 5 players in this league go off the way that he did. Luka Doncic's game rose to the level of Stephen Curry, and you could tell the joy and the love and fun that he was having on the court, knowing that he was dueling with one of the best players of his generation and what that meant to him. Stephen Curry won his first MVP when Luka Doncic was a teenager, so Luka Doncic knows what the legend of Stephen Curry is and what that can look like, and he got to see it firsthand at the American Airlines Center with Stephen Curry dropping the 57 points that he did. But The love, the joy, and the sheer will of Luka Doncic to make winning plays, not just for himself, but for his teammates, was key in this game, and more importantly, showing that the lights, when they are brightest, are when Doncic shines the most, and that's exactly what he did in this game. There are certain games that sometimes you just throw the defense out the window and let two of the best players in the NBA just go at it, and that's exactly what you got to see in an absolute show between Luka Doncic and Stephen Curry. Again, defense aside, the winning plays that were made, especially defensively late down the stretch, the key shot making by contributors to this basketball team, at least for one night, quells the questions that we had about the effort that had been lacking for this basketball team over the last several games, especially after what happened in the first game of the series. Because I'll be the first to question the effort and the energy and the intensity and the quote-unquote disposition that Rick Carlisle likes to talk about, and whether or not the message of Rick Carlisle had been lost on this basketball team. But at least for one night, they found a measure of resolve within themselves to fight on the biggest days against a guy in Steph Curry who was hitting a barrage of three-pointers and creating the kinds of shots that make your jaw drop. But the Dallas Mavericks still have a lot of work to do to try and find themselves getting back to at least 500. They're in the middle of an important home stretch here where they have an opportunity to make some hay in terms of some of the games that they play. Their next game is going to be against the Minnesota Timberwolves on Monday, and they have to give themselves another opportunity to back up what they did against the Golden State Warriors by coming out with the same fire and intensity and even better defensive play against the Minnesota Timberwolves to try and stem the tide, where they will have fans in the house for the very first time this season. 1,500 fans will be in attendance for this basketball game. Vaccinated workers, health and safety workers will be in the basketball game in attendance to bring a new energy, hopefully, to the American Airlines Center. And obviously, this would have been a game that you would have loved to have seen fans in it to watch these two virtuosos absolutely go toe-to-toe, and that's exactly what they did. Luka Doncic has a lot to shoulder at the age of 21, with not only the leadership mantle that has been bestowed upon him, but also continuing to be the focal point. And what was most fun to see in this game, Luka Doncic went 7 of 12 from the three-point line. Luka Doncic for the season has only been shooting 30% from downtown. When he is shooting the ball the way that he did, especially from the three-point line, there is no more unguardable player in this league than Luka Doncic. We know how he has improved his mid-range game, taking the ball to the basket. You can criticize him all you want for the way that he was going to the basket, drawing fouls, folks getting on him on social media like he's turning into a James Harden type. That's good basketball. Driving the lane, putting the pressure on defenses, getting to the foul line where he was able to go 11 of 14 from the foul line. That's how you get yourself going in terms of your offensive rhythm and putting pressure on defenses to make decisions about how they will defend you, and then exploiting the bad decisions that they make by driving the ball to the basket and making things easier for yourself and for your teammates. And then you couple that with the 7 of 12 shooting that he did from the three-point line. That is when Luka Doncic becomes unguardable. Because when he's hitting shots from downtown, you have to make a decision. You're going to either guard him on the three-point line, or you're going to allow him to get you on his hip, get to the rim, create shots for himself and his teammates who will be wide open because of the penetration and the playmaking ability of Luka Doncic. Those are hard decisions that defenses had to make. And on this night, the Golden State Warriors had no answer for Luka Doncic. We will see how this continues to go forward, but at least for one night, the effort, intensity, and the scoring prowess of a team that has been bad defensively all season long reminded us of what this team was like a year ago. Yeah, they weren't necessarily the greatest team on defense, but boy, when this team is hitting shots and rebounding the basketball that they did, 15 offensive rebounds in this particular basketball game, going 21 of 47 from the three-point line, which is good for nearly 45%. This is the Dallas Mavericks team that got to the first round of the Western Conference playoffs a season ago. Yes, you want them to be better defensively. Of course we do. But man, offensive basketball is fun, especially when you watch these two go at it. And Luka Doncic and Stephen Curry did exactly that on a nationally televised stage. The Dallas Mavericks get back on the floor on Monday at the American Airlines Center as they take on the Minnesota Timberwolves as they try to get to 11 and 14 on the season. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel also right here at Kevin Gray Sports by liking, commenting, and hitting that subscribe button. This has been The Gray Area. I'll talk to you later. Peace.